Hey, everybody, get ready for week 10 NFL. The best video ever about what's going to happen this weekend. Oh boy, have I got a lot of fun in store for everybody. Let's talk about how we're going to do this. So, I spent a lot of time with the NFL algorithm this week. The reason why I spent time with it, it's fun. Ran a bunch of different combinations in this macro file and figured out you can win 84% of your games historically with distributions like it's 83% using these distributions here. A lot of fun. Um, it's it's creating distributions and win percentages that are looking like this. So if you ever want to play with this and purchase the algorithm on kenbraverman.com, you can go and subscribe and get a copy of this and mess with it yourself. We have a current injury report as of Saturday, the 14th, early in the AM. Stuff will change. But as for right now, it's time to review the games. And also, I'm going to discuss a fun way to look at this because sports betting is legal in a lot of places now, in a lot of states. It's legal in a neighboring state in a district where I live, and I will probably get out to West Virginia before Sunday and make a bet on this and what teams, or if there was one pick, for example, how would you figure out how to browse through this to get the answer to that question? And I thought, well, this is going to be a fun exercise. We're going to start eliminating the plays that you don't want to make, and we're going to end up with just one pick at the end of this video, and we're going to go until we get there. So let's talk about the games. First, Thursday night, the point projections had this game correctly. Had Indianapolis winning this game. Win percentage didn't because Tennessee was at home. Nobody really knew what was going to happen. This is all based off season stats. This is more reliable, the point projections over here. The actual final score of this game was 34-17, so we were a little light on the score for Indianapolis, but they had like a blocked punt, and there was some interesting 17-yard punt that Tennessee had before that, so it's kind of why they outscored the projection. I'm fine with that, right? So that's great. That's a winner by, there's always this question, who did we pick by the spread? The spread was Indianapolis, apparently -1.5. Was that true? We had them to cover that, and they did. They won the game. So, all right, that's Thursday. Let's talk about Sunday and Monday and show who you would take and why, and how we're going to organize this file and this readout. I am showing this by descending by win score right now. That's actually not helpful when it comes to betting with the spread. It's also not necessarily helpful for who's going to win the game by point projections, which is the more reliable way of understanding how this game is going to go. This uses players that are currently playing the game and takes into account the injury report, which is right here. And it has everybody playing who doesn't have an injury by hitting this, or anybody who's questionable. And one thing that's interesting is looking at people that are just on the questionable list, you can assume that these players are not 100%. And you should consider that. I don't really have that algorithmically being considered into the score projections, but you can just glance at this. Patriots have some hurt people, a kicker, I guess. Washington football team also has a kicker. Jets hurting. Who's out on the Seahawks? Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde. Sorry, not out, questionable. So things that you need to look at in here, it's interesting to do it that way because it does give you a better idea what's going on in the games. Well, let's get back to this here. So we're sorting by, this is kind of like what popular consensus would have felt like looking at the team's records throughout the year. This is kind of what that number and this percentage does. And this just looks at who's playing, right? So what does that mean? It means when you sort descending by this, you get to a team all the way at the bottom. If you think of one game where you don't want to take a team, the team that you don't want to take is Jacksonville. Jacksonville against Green Bay, because Jacksonville is just way -87%. We think that they're going to lose by 13, but with big spreads like this, you can never really know. So what we're going to do is we understand that we don't ever want to have Jacksonville this weekend. So we're going to unclick Jacksonville, and they're going to be gone from this list now. Boom. We're going to do that until we get down to one team. All right. So Jacksonville is gone. Okay. Now we're going to sort by something else, because I'm going to start removing the worst thing in every category and see what we can come up with. We're going to reduce by projected margin of victory. So this is taking into account point projections, which like I said, and I like, it's better than this number because it's more current and has current players and does a bunch of advanced calculations and stuff. Well, if you look down at the worst, whose team we think is going to lose by the most number of points? We think the Seahawks are going to lose by 8 points against the Rams. And we just saw a bunch of questionable running backs on the Seahawks as well, which makes me even more skeptical of their chances in this game. So we are going to remove Seattle from the list. All right. Let's now look at what other category? Let's look at teams where we do not pick the spread to win. This is the worst case scenario. We think that we don't ever want to take the Eagles minus 3.5 over the Giants because we think the Giants are going to win this game by 4. So bye Eagles. You guys are gone. I don't want to do the bottom part of that just yet because I want to talk about something else. Let's remove Monday night's game for now and talk about it later. Let's just see what it is, though. It's the Bears. Oh, yeah, it's a very interesting game I want to talk about where it kind of favors the Bears like you wouldn't think here, have them winning the game. But let's not talk about that because that's Monday's game. So let's go back to Sunday. So that means we're going to remove, we're just not looking at Monday. So Chicago and Minnesota are removed from this list, all right? Now we're down to 21 possible games. And we're sorting by projected margin of victory, which I like. And we're seeing interesting stuff up here. Well, let's keep looking at the bottom. The Patriots against the Ravens. Thinks the Patriots are going to lose this game by 4, but they get 7 points. I don't think you want to bet on Patriots offense right now. Baltimore coming off a big win in Indianapolis. I don't like the Patriots down there, so I'm going to get rid of the Patriots. After they just had trouble with the Jets, right? I mean, come on. Come on. Panthers and Bucks, Cleveland and Houston. Now we start to get into complicated things where we're going to start talking about games and going down one by one. And the way we're going to do this is here's why I like to sort by win score because of the way I'm going to look at this right now. Did we pick the team to win the spread? Yes. So this right here, this is the best way to look at betting on football and what this algorithm can do for you. It tells you which teams you're supposed to take on the spread line. If you look at all the games, you can see we would have had Indianapolis because of point projections. They won, so you would have won this game already. And on Monday night, it likes the Bears because you get 3 points with the Bears. So just know that. But let's talk about Sunday because, like I said, we got to figure out teams that we still. What's the best pick of the day here? Well, first of all, you've got. When it sorts this by win score, you can see that every one of these teams that we are picking, every single one of them has a negative win score percentage. And that means that this percentage here is not predicting that team wins the game when it comes to this percentage thing based on season stats. That's fascinating because it's saying that we're taking all these teams plus the points. We're taking a lot of teams plus the points because of our point projections. Now, the point projections look okay. They might look a little low. I was thinking of upping them by using this magnifier and refreshing. And then stuff starts to change a little bit around because points get a little bit wider. So keep that in mind. Let's go with like 5.25 and see what that looks like. It's really, really close. So in this instance, you have a very close game where it keeps wanting like Arizona to win this game. I feel like where'd they go? Let's look at both of this for a second. The Arizona, that's such a weird game, that Buffalo Arizona game. It keeps flipping around. It looks like it wants to have Arizona win this game by 1 point in a high scoring game, even when the magnifier is at 5. And don't worry if you don't know what I'm doing right here, but I'm just changing around the ranges of potential score possibilities. It still favors Arizona 27.4 to 26.5. It wants Arizona to win this game. So let's go back to this. I like this. Got to expand this out a little bit. And now let's go back to, yes, here. So this first game, you can see it's super close. Arizona's favored here. Buffalo's not, but the game's so damn close that it says take Buffalo plus 2.5. away. Now, this is at the top of the list, and historically, when you look at these games at the top of the list, it's actually the worst way. If you look historically, when you start opening up the history of winning and losing in previous weeks, like let's look at the past 4 weeks, just games that it picked on the spread. If you go 1 week at a time, it loses the games at the top more. This is where it's talking about whether or not you win or lose with the spread. Loses at the top. Won the top, but lost this one. Actually, let's open up our teams. No, I don't want to do that. It's getting too complicated, folks. I know, but let me go back here. I'll keep talking, because we're gonna get somewhere. This game is very, very close. So what it's telling me is it's not one of our picks because it's too close, and Buffalo's spread is only plus 2 points. So I'm going to remove Buffalo from this list, even though it does say to take them in the algorithm. Okay, that's fine. Let's keep going then. Houston and Cleveland. Houston plus 4 thinks Houston wins this game. This is the most astonishing thing I saw of the day when I was browsing the file before the video. I was like, we're favoring Houston away, and we're thinking they're going to outscore Cleveland by 3 points because Cleveland's D must be terrible or something, right? Why is that? Let's look at it in here. Cleveland is Cleveland is 22% favorite on this because they have a much better record at home than Houston does on the road. Okay, that's enormous. So if you up the percentage here, it is going to favor Cleveland in this game. I understand that. I understand why Vegas thinks that, but why is point projections doing this? Why is point projections doing this between Houston and Cleveland? Let's find out. Houston and Cleveland. They're tied. Look at this. The wide receiving core on Houston is supposedly powerful with Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, and Randall Cobb. That sounds like a pretty good freaking roster, and Deshaun Watson playing well. So Cleveland's defense is supposedly not supposed to hold up. That's what's now. Let's see if that's reasonable. Based on they're at home, right? But if you look at their history here, Cleveland, this is where you can look up their season stats, and okay, they have a defensive rating of -5. That's bad. And that the opponent is going to score like 1.2 times as much as normal. Something like that. So that's why. That's why it's doing this. I mean, that's where this is a very. I'm not removing Houston from my list of picks because one, that's a great line at plus 170. It's saying plus 4. This is a really, really good pick apparently, and it's off the beaten path. So let's keep that in mind as that being one of the potential winners. Washington versus Detroit. I don't want to bet on the Skins right now. Is Alex Smith playing? This predicts a tie because both of these teams suck. So you can get 4.5 with the Skins. They probably cover that, which is why it likes this bet. So what do we know? We know we don't want to take Detroit. That's what we know. That's pretty obvious. So if we open up both of these, we know that we want to remove Detroit from our list. Let's go back to yes, though. So Washington seems like an interesting plus 4.5 play, but they are also still a big question mark. So I don't think it's one of the best picks, but it is a decent pick. This is the interesting one. This is the Rams supposed to crush the Seahawks by a lot in a high-scoring game at home. They did it against the Bears a couple weeks ago. Seems possible. It's one of the biggest margins of victory for the day. So we already removed Seattle from the list. The Rams may be a good pick there, right? Giants and Eagles. This is where it hates the Eagles because it has the Giants winning this game and you get 3.5 points. That has to be an interesting pick. They're not as bad. So the Giants are potentially one of the really good ones. Denver and the Raiders. Big high-scoring tie game in Vegas because Drew Lock has some comeback capabilities, and I guess Vegas's defense is not great, which is why it's contributing to a high game. So Denver plus 4 is a good pick, which means you'd have to take Vegas -4. And given that point projections is doing that, that means you can remove Vegas from this list. Where are you, Vegas? Vegas is gone. Chargers and Dolphins. Has the Dolphins barely winning this game. What if there's an even lower score game because somehow the Chargers have defense, which they don't. It's still a 1-point game, about a higher scoring game. Then it's still one. It's the Dolphins barely winning. It's not a good bet because you only get 1.5 with the Chargers. You don't want to take the Chargers here, so Chargers are coming off this list. Niners and Saints. Has the Saints winning this game? You get 9.5 points with the Niners, but the Niners, I don't know. It's such a weird spread, and it seems like it's supposed to be closer. So that's why you're supposed to take the Niners. I guess you can't take the Saints at minus 9.5. That's what it's saying. So let's remove the Saints from this list. Even though they're playing well, it's just bad points. I don't think you want to take the Niners because they're so not favored by win score and not favored by projected score, and I think they have I know they have injury problems. The line's bad, so you can remove the Niners from this list. Carolina and Tampa Bay. It thinks that you get 6 points and thinks Carolina loses by 4. I kind of like this play because Tampa Bay looked so bad against the Saints. Brady looked old. That was a question mark. Antonio Brown is back, but they're talking about he's got ongoing legal battles. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on there. Tampa Bay's got big old question mark. I don't know what time of day this game is at, but I should look it up. I don't care though. That's interesting. I do think Carolina can sneak a 6 points. So definitely you're not taking Tampa Bay. That's what we know. So let's get rid of Tampa Bay. Now here's a fun game. I shouldn't say that. But Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, that's a long ass video, but it's worth it. We're gonna get there eventually. So Cincinnati and Pittsburgh here, Pittsburgh's got COVID, right? What's the COVID situation? Right here, COVID situation, COVID. Pittsburgh still has Ben's out, right? I mean, he didn't just get better instantly. It's weeks, right? So, yeah, they got issues, right, with COVID, guaranteed. So that makes you think that they're not going to be at 100%. It's obvious they're not at 100%, especially with their quarterback out and God knows what else is going on, right? So that means you definitely don't take Pittsburgh today in any shape or form because they're not the same Pittsburgh. You don't know too many people out. So Pittsburgh is not going to be picked. Do you then take Cincinnati? And the answer is maybe because you get 7 points and it's predicting even at that high magnifier. Like the magnifier could be down at here. It's only predicting them to lose by like 3 or 4. And you get 7, so that's a possibility, but it's still up. That's actually a really good possibility because they are hurt, right? Does Cincinnati have COVID? I don't think so. See anybody on that? I don't remember seeing it on here, right? How injured is Cincinnati? Not only people with foot and Achilles. I don't see any COVID on here, right? So I do think that they surprise. So I don't want to remove them from the list yet. So here's what we're left with right now. Almost 20 minutes into this video. Is we're left with 12 left. What do I not like on here? I don't like this. The Chargers are a decent offensive team, and this line is not great, and you have to take Miami with points. That seems too difficult, even though they're playing well. Their Chargers will fight and keep losing games close, but the payout isn't there for that Miami game. So let's get rid of that. Cleveland, we didn't want to take Cleveland. Why are they still on here, right? It was Houston that you get 4 points with. Cleveland's supposed to be gone. You don't want any part of Cleveland because they're not favored by point projections. They're only at 22%, and the line is terrible. So Cleveland's got to go. Arizona and Buffalo, I think there's a similar problem here. We only have them favored to win by 1, and they're favored minus 2.5. So the line is bad, and it's going to be super close. So Arizona's got to go. You don't want to have all you can. I would never tell you that the best pick of the day is the Broncos in any shape or form over the Raiders, even though this is 30-30, because they're not a really good team. So they got to go. Same thing with Carolina against a team that has Brady. You would never say, even though that's a good pick, that that's the pick of the day. Can't be. Gone. I think the answer is you don't go against Cleveland at home as your pick of the day. even though Houston's supposed to win. Even though I love this pick for payout reasons, it's not a sure thing, so that's got to go. The Giants at home against the Eagles. God, this seems like such a great pick, plus 3.5, doesn't it? They're supposed to win the game. Eagles are terrible right now, right? All right, you don't want to go against a team that's undefeated as your pick of the day. I would never tell you to take Cincinnati, even though I think that Pittsburgh is going to get upset in a weird way there because they're sick. You don't want to just guess on that. Oh my goodness. I would never tell you the Skins in Detroit plus 4.5 because they could lose by a touchdown. That's got to go. Okay, now we're starting to get close. Seahawks have Russell Wilson, even though they come off a bad game in Philadelphia. I see there's no real payout here because they're still favored by 2.5. So you got to take the Rams to win by a field goal against Russell Wilson, even though point projections are saying do it. Even though money line is saying do it on the money line is like a pick of the day. That's a really good pick, but it's not. I'm just not going to go against Seattle. Man, Seattle is favored by. Seattle is favored. They are favored by. Okay, but I'm just going to take. I'm taking them off. I don't know how I already removed Seattle. I'm taking the Rams off. Sorry. I'm not going against Seattle here. Why? Why not? How should we be sorting right now? I'm removing the second pick. Why? Because it's Seattle. Okay, here's the other problem. You can't take anybody minus 13.5 points. I just realized that problem. Even though Jackson is miserable, and this is in Green Bay, it can be cold. People are sick. You got to remove Green Bay from this list because of points wise. So here's where we're getting to answer questions 22 minutes in this video. If you have a survivor pool and you haven't taken Green Bay yet, the answer is take Green Bay. That's obvious. But they're not bettable spread-wise because they're at minus 13.5. All right, now let's talk about these three. So I have reservations against the Rams because of this minus 2.5. They look like a good money line pick, but I'm just going to take them off. Giants or Ravens. Boy, that Giants plus 3.5 looks really good. How could I tell you that the pick of the day is the Giants when the pick of the day could be the Ravens, who are supposed to win by only 4, and you have to take them on the money line? So here's another good survivor pool team pick is the Ravens, but the money line's not there. So Baltimore's got to go. Are you telling me the pick of the week is the freaking Giants? Wow. They're supposed to win at home, and they're supposed to outscore them, and you get 3.5. So this is the pick of the week. It's the Giants plus 3.5. I can't believe we got there, but that is apparently the answer. So good luck, everybody. On Monday night, it's sneaking at things that likes the Bears, so we'll talk about it. Even with Dalvin Cook in there, you can see it still favors them. All right, good luck, everybody. That was a super long video, but that was fun. Go Giants somehow. Wow. Giants plus 3.5. Get it while you can.